Standing by from Washington, D.C., as I like to call it, Game of Thrones on the Potomac, Senator John Kennedy is here. Hey, Mr. John, how are you today?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Can I start with health care, please?
Sure.
With the vote last week with the McCain and Murkowski and Collins, as I call it, in fact, I'll just tell you this, what I heard a bunch of times, and I'm sure you have too. America needs a third political party, and I said there is one. The problem is it has 3 people in it. What kind of spillover are you getting from your constituents and others based on the vote of 3 other senators?
Well, first, I believe in democracy. Everybody gets a vote. Having said that, Robert, I was really disappointed. I was very disappointed. I thought we had it. I made a promise to the people of Louisiana, and I intend to keep it, that the first chance I got, I would vote to repeal the Affordable Care Act, so-called Obamacare, and I'd put something better in its place. And I still intend to do that, along with my colleagues. But I'm not going to kid you. I was disappointed.
I think the problem is, pardon me, John, the problem is you promised to repeal and replace Obamacare, or just repeal, which is the way I lean. The point is, so did John McCain. There's videos of his campaign promises all over the internet. Repeal Obamacare. Well, not that you should necessarily know what goes through the man's mind and that of Murkowski and Collins, but what happened?
Well, I don't know. We discussed this issue. We probably had over 100 different meetings. I probably spent, a couple of 100 hours in meetings with my colleagues. We talked about it so much and discussed it so much that when somebody would speak, everybody else could finish their sentences. Of course, it was controversial because health care, everybody wants what's best for their people. There's just disagreement over what's best. But one thing I thought would unite us was the fact that Obamacare just didn't work, and it's not. I was looking at some numbers the other day. We all talk at the conceptual level, but for example, you can take a 60-year-old person living in Baton Rouge, non-smoker, making $50,000 a year. The cheapest, most basic plan he can buy on Obamacare will cost him $9,000 a year. Now, that includes about a $690 a month premium and a deductible of $4,500. So you're making $50,000 a year, and the federal government says, "Have I got a deal for you? I've got insurance for you." $9,000. That's like giving somebody a bus ticket, but saying, "Oh, by the way, there are no buses."
Mm-hmm. But John,
it's just not working.
But we both know. We both know, everybody knows that Obamacare isn't about the people who are paying. It's designed for the people who don't. As I've said 1,000 times, it's not health care. It's a welfare program.
When you really look at all the numbers, you find that there are 291 million people in America out of 320 million people that have health insurance. Now, most of them get it either through Medicare or about 60% get it through their employer. But the Affordable Care Act was designed to help about 7% of the population. And they're important 7%. But in order to help the 7%, Obamacare screws the other 93%. I want a system that helps everybody within the limits of what we can afford. The Democrats kept saying, well, you need to spend more money here and you need to spend more money there. We are borrowing. People lose sight of the fact. We are borrowing $1 million a minute to operate the federal government. Not an hour, not a day, $1 million a minute. We've been on, 5 minutes? We just borrowed $5 million that our kids have to pay back. We borrow $1.4 billion every single day.
Where are we going now, John? Senator, where are we going now with health care? What's going to happen next? Are you guys going to come back with a vengeance now?
Right now, the ball's in the court of the Democrats. They, from day one, said, we don't want to participate in your plan. We said, okay, we went it alone. Now they say they won't offer their ideas. I'm willing to listen. But I can tell you the Senate the Republicans in the Senate, we're going to come back to health care, but our objective next is to move to tax cuts. Now, some call it tax reform. I call it I think my description is more accurate.
Aren't the same Republicans who were afraid of being branded in the left-leaning media as taking away people's health care and wanting people to die, aren't those Republicans that wouldn't back an Obamacare repeal, aren't they going to feel the same way about tax reform when they are branded in the media as sucking up to the rich and not caring about the little guy? Aren't they going to back off just as rapidly?
I hope not. We have by we I mean the Republicans in the Senate. We meet for lunch 3 times a week. We had a very, very frank discussion yesterday among the Republican caucus in the Senate. And if they do that, if they stop us from doing tax cuts, nothing you can do about it. But I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. And right now we just can't on the Republican side. We can't pass an Obamacare replacement. I mean, we can't. I wish we could, but that doesn't mean we're giving up. But we're going to move to tax cuts, so-called tax reform, and come back to health care hopefully this fall. In the meantime, the Democrats say we've got ideas. I say fine. I'm willing to hear your idea or your ideas. But if your ideas are just throw more money at it or a single-payer system where the federal government regulates every doctor and hospital and nurse in America like they were a utility, and you have to go to a bureaucrat to get permission to go to your doctor, I'm not going to support that.